Um, First and foremost, we beat a really good basketball team. I think that, as the season progresses, they'll be knocking on the door of the top 25. I really believe that. Um, and I think obviously, um, we did a really good job affecting them from our defensive pressure. Um, and we made it hard on Grant Riller, who was their leading scorer coming in, to get a bunch of good looks. Didn't do quite as good a job on Brantley, but if only one of them hurts you, hopefully it's Brantley if he's not making a bunch of threes, which, he made a couple in a row there. I've known that kid for a long time. I actually played against his brother and then recruited him when I was at Stephen F. So I was well aware of how good they were long before, the last year when they made that run. But I'm proud of our kids for the way that we competed. I thought we competed at a really high level on the defensive end. The key to the game in my mind was making those two guys have a hard time getting clean looks, and then you have to rebound because they've done a really good job on their offensive glass. And collectively, we had several guys contribute to us being able to win the battle on the boards today.
Fell behind by 8 there late in the first half, and then I think it was like a 33-5 run to kind of take control. What really worked for you guys during that stretch?
Well, offensively, we kind of got stagnant for a bit, and we started to really attack a little bit more. We weren't playing on our heels as much. And there's no question that having Weathers out there made a difference. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. He's a difference maker. We knew that long before he played today. And unfortunately, he had to wait his turn. But, I think everybody was now completely aware of the type of impact he can make. And it's not just in terms of making baskets. I thought one of the keys to the game was his defensive play on the break where he turned it over. It's a great lesson for our freshmen. It was wrong. He screwed up, but you keep playing, you keep competing, and he made a heck of a defensive play to block that shot and really show, what we're trying to accomplish defensively, which is playing with all our effort all the time.
Why do you think having Weathers back motivates his teammates? Do you think it kind of helps them to have a little bit more of a complete team now again?
I don't know about motivation. Again, I mean, there's no question that Mike's one of our best players. I mean, so I think it helps everybody understand that we got another really good weapon out there, and he can make plays for himself, but he's a good passer as well. He can make the game easier for some of his teammates who otherwise, don't have as good a looks. He changes sometimes the way teams have to guard Thomas Desagua or Lindy Waters or Cam McGriff because, the one thing he does exceptionally well is attack in transition. He puts the defense on their heels and almost forces a second defender to have to come pay attention to him. When that happens, when you got a guy like Desagua who, we got confidence in making shots, and Lindy who didn't shoot it great but had really good looks, we feel like if those guys get those type of looks all year, we'll be in good shape.
I know you mentioned during the summer when you challenged Thomas to make those 25,000 shots that you wanted to see more focus out of him, and he has one of the smaller resumes. Are you kind of seeing any results of that on the court now?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of what the numbers are off the top of my head, but he made his threes at a pretty high clip in all 3 games. But more importantly, is his defensive focus. He's in position most of the time. He's got to cut back on his turnovers. He's got some really, really odd turnovers for a kid who's one of our smarter players who's been coached his whole life and who's been around the game. He's got to cut back on his careless turnovers, and when he does that, he'll become even more dynamic. Now, the problem is he's not necessarily a guy who breaks you down off the dribble. But again, we've got a second guy with likely now who can do that. And that changes the game for him a little bit.
Y'all had 5 guys, I think it was 5, who scored in double digits. How encouraging is that to have the offense kind of spread around like that?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not surprised. I'll say this. I have great belief in this team and what people might think they know about this team doesn't affect what I think about this team. I've watched these kids work since June. I know what they're all capable of doing. And today I think we saw a small glimpse of what this team has the potential to be, and we're still not whole. We got a couple guys who will play for us at some point pretty soon, hopefully, that'll also add some more offensive weaponry to our team. And then when our freshman bigs continue to learn their defensive assignments a little bit better, Now we got another dimension defensively. I think you saw that with around the rim. He changes things. We can continue to pressure the ball a little bit more and be more aggressive, not giving up threes. And if teams want to drive, you got to think about a guy with a big-time wingspan and good feel for blocking shots coming over to help.
In addition to Zago, I think 3 games you guys are 30 for 65 from 3, and that's probably like top 20 or top 10 in the country. Does this team have potential to be that good a three-point shooting team all throughout the year?
What did you say the percentage was?
It's 46 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think about it in that regard. Here's the only thing I worry about. All summer, from June 9th or whatever it was, every kid on our team put in the work necessary to have success now. And, I got a sheet every week. We charted everybody's shots. I'll tell you who was second in shooting numbers this summer was Michael Weathers, who had probably, in terms of the group of guards, the most questionable jump shot of the group. But they just work at it, is the point. I believe ultimately work wins. That's what we talk about. Projections don't win, talent doesn't win, although it gives you a chance. Work wins, and these kids have totally bought into that. And we're starting to see it from a kid like Desagua who, hadn't had a whole lot of opportunities, and he's worked his way to have more opportunities, and he's taken advantage of them.
I didn't cater per se about who starts and who doesn't, but you decided to put Duncan into the lineup. What was the thought process there?
It was actually it was a combination of things. Duncan has continually shown me that I can trust him. The thing, I don't think you can really lose a game offensively in the first 4 or 5 minutes, but you can definitely lose a game defensively. If you have a guy you're supposed to hold down, let him get loose for a couple easy baskets, can change. And I trust Duncan as much as I do any of my vets of being assignment sound right now. And we had him start on their best player. Now, we were bringing help, but I wasn't worried about him being out of position and giving him an easy basket. And the other thing is and this wasn't against him necessarily, I wanted him to have an opportunity to see the game from a different perspective. And that's my job, is to try to figure out how best these kids can have success. And if it's coming off the bench for and he did a better job, he rebounded better, just kind of letting the game settle some. There's a lot of high nerves and all that to start a game. He may feel some pressure there. I don't know what the case was. So the combination of giving him a chance to maybe look at the game from a different perspective, and Duncan's earned it. He's earned the opportunity to be out there because we can trust him. His teammates trust him, and he did what he does all the time, play with great effort and play assignment sound basketball.
Yeah, the last time Weathers left the court, you stopped him over near your spot and kind of talked to him for 30 seconds. So what did you want to say to him there?
I don't want to get into a whole bunch of details, but I talk to all these kids all the time. I did the same thing with I did the same thing with Ice. I want these kids, first of all, to understand that I'm proud of them. And what they're doing right now is another step in the process of reestablishing what Oklahoma State basketball is about. The effort that we played with, Mike Weathers made 2 unbelievably tremendous effort plays, the block shot and the dive on the loose ball. That those are momentum-changing plays. And my job is to reinforce those things that I want repeated. And the way he played today, and he didn't have his best game. He played good. He wasn't exceptional. I've seen him play a lot better than that. But he's making the steps in the right direction.
Practice final 4 or 5 minute scenarios quite a bit since the Charlotte game. Are you happy with how they finished those 4 minutes tonight?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, Mark, we actually practiced those from the first day of the season. I probably have played or have had more game-like segments in practice with this team than any team I've been a part of, partly because I know how young we are. And the problem is there's nobody in the stands. There's really no pressure, right, to make the free throw or to get the stop in practice because there's not a true consequence. What Charlotte gave me an opportunity was to reinforce, if we're not locked in, if we're not focused, it can get away from you. And it doesn't matter who you're playing or where the game is. You got to play the full 40 minutes. So the thing I was most concerned about today at halftime is we haven't gotten off the good starts to the second half in either one of our games. And today we did that. We held them to 2 points in the first 4 or 5 minutes or so and made a few shots to extend our lead. So that was something I was even more impressed with than necessarily the last minute because they were fouling more and we were just kind of, keeping the game away from it.
You mentioned guys who are almost going to be back with you. Chico seemed to be warming up today, like he was going to maybe give it a go, and just was he not feeling good enough? Or
yeah, again, he's 23 years old. He's got as good a feel for what he's ready to do as anybody. So, when he's ready, he'll let me know, and he'll play. And, he practiced more the last 2 days than he had heading into the previous game. And he went through warm-ups, and it just didn't. It wasn't. It didn't feel right. And he'll be back soon enough. Again, I keep saying the last thing I want to do is have it be a psychological burden for him where he's not. If he can't play the way Weathers played, for example, or Duncan played, effort-wise, then he can't play. And until he's ready to do that with full effort, then we'll continue to rehab him.
You mentioned that. Weathers had mentioned that he played his 3 minutes on Wednesday and felt like he was going to pass out. And he played a hefty chunk tonight, I think a little more than 25. How do you think he handled that increase in minutes, knowing that he hasn't been on the court in a while?
That was a pretty significant 3 minutes for that kid the other day. Part of the reason that I wanted to get him out there because I knew the first time. Again, it's not like he just didn't play the first game, right? This kid hadn't played a game since March of 2017, I guess it was. It's been a long time since he's been out there, and so to give him an opportunity the other day, and I was hoping he'd like kick the ball into the 300 level to get a bad turnover out of the way or shoot an air ball or something to kind of just settle him. But he got a dunk, so that was even better. But you know, he actually played today. As crazy as it sounds, he played today on a rolled ankle. But he wasn't going to not play. He rolled his ankle in shoot around today, and you know he went out about 10 minutes in the shoot around and went back to the training room. But the kid's a warrior. He's a competitor, and he made some big-time competitive plays today.
What do you think sparked you all to go on that 12-1 run at the end of the first half?
At the end of the first half, what sparked us? I don't know. I think every day, every possession. Recently, we've been saying that every possession is important. I think the guys that were out there were just really dialed in, to be honest, and I think we just stuck to the game plan.
Thomas, I know during the summer when Mike Boynton had challenged you to make those 25,000 shots, he said he really wanted you to focus out there. Today, you had a game with more offensive efficiency. Do you feel like you've been more focused?
Absolutely. If shots fall or don't fall, I just trust the work that I put in. Can't really say other than that. I just trust the work. So I'm focused on just trying to get better every single day and trying to get more W's in the win column.
What has it been like for you adjusting to playing with the team again now?
It's like a reunion. I don't feel like we missed a step when we were playing over the summer, but I'm just glad to be back on the court with the guys.
What has the waiting process been like for you over the last couple months?
It's been hectic, but the guys helped me through everything, so I'm just glad that I have them here and have my back. But really, I'm just blessed to be back on the court and given a second chance.
Were there times over the last 2 months where you kind of wondered, am I ever going to get back out there?
Most definitely. I always had those thoughts running through my head, sitting at home and hearing about these guys practicing left and right and doing all these things, seeing them on social media. But, you know, my mom and my brother and my family kept me sane through all the process, so I'm just glad I had them also behind me.
You put out that apology on social media when you got reinstated. Kind of what went into that, putting that together, and what do you think you've kind of learned from the last few months?
Really, I made a stupid decision. I'm just glad that I reached out to the person that I affected the most and apologized to her. But during this process, I learned a lot. Life can be taken away from you instantly. So I'm just glad that my family helped me through the whole process and things like that, and everybody on the staff, basketball staff. So I'm just blessed to be here.
How's your conditioning like right now? I know you've been practicing a little bit, but what was it like today getting to play those many minutes?
Surprisingly, it's actually pretty good. The first time that I actually got on the court for those 3 minutes against UTSA, I was about to pass out. But surprisingly, this game, it was actually pretty good.
Back on the court, what does that add to this team?
It just adds another dimension. He's a very, very dynamic player. He's a threat defensively and offensively, and it just makes our team 10 times better. He's a great leader. He's great getting into the rim. He's a great distributor. So all across the board, I think we get better, 10 times better when he's out there with us.
Michael, you did a lot offensively, but the one play that also stuck out was you turned the ball over and then got the block immediately at the other end. Kind of take me through that play from your view.
Well, I saw Thomas coming off the down screen. I told him to curl it, but he wanted to fade it. So turned the ball over, and then I know that coach gets on us a lot about hustling and that every possession matters. So I just wanted to make up for it pretty much with the block.
You know, a little shaken up out there on that one play? Did you just try to shake it off after that, or what happened?
I mean, I'm still hurt from it because shout out to Yor. His knee hit me in the back of the head, so pretty much I still got, a bruise on the back of my head, but, all around, it's okay.
When you came off the court for the last time, with like Coach Boynton kind of stopped you and talked to you for a minute or maybe a little bit less than that, what did he say to you there?
He told me that he's just glad to have me back on the court and have me back on the team, really. And I just told him that I'm really grateful for him allowing me to come back to the team and giving me a second chance, really.
You guys relied a lot on the three-point shot throughout this game. I know Boynton said before that he doesn't want to depend too much on it, but what is it like kind of trying to find that balance between not relying on it too much but taking those shots when you need them?
Coach emphasizes that if we're open, we're going to shoot it, but we also need to put pressure on the rim. And guys like Isaac, Mike, Cam, they put pressure on the rim a lot. But Coach always says trust in the work that you put in, so if you're open, shoot it.
You guys both got to watch Cam last year, but Thomas, how has his game improved from last year to the first 3 games of this year?
I mean, I guess the numbers speak for themselves, speaking about Cam, but I know behind the scenes he's been putting work in day and night. A lot of people don't know that, but he's been in the gym with just as much as anybody, to be honest. So I mean, the work's just showing on how dynamic and how better of a player he's gone from offensively and defensively, and how much his game has expanded.
I think just about the time you've been here, and then you got last year too, just the suspension as well. How long have you waited to just have this week?
It's been a long time, very, very long. I really didn't think I was going to play this year, but I'm just glad the administration gave me a second chance and the coaches gave me a second chance. But it's been a long due process for me, just sitting out last year and watching everybody play, which was really hard for me since I've never sat out like that before. And then to sit out a little bit of the games this year, it was just a hard process. But my teammates walked me through it, helped me through it.
What was your mindset coming in? It seems like when you came in, you really kind of gave your team a jolt and really a lift to help them really kind of take off. So what was your mindset coming in off the bench?
Really, I just wanted to be efficient and not try to force anything. I wanted to get everybody pretty much involved and get everybody going, if anything. I'm just glad that these guys, like Thomas, 4 of 6 from 3, I'm just glad that he's out on the court with me so I can pass him the ball when I get in trouble, because he always bails me out. And Lindy, shout out to Lindy, always bails me out too.
What does it mean to you guys? Y'all had 4 guys scoring double digits, y'all being 2 of them. How encouraging is that to show kind of how the offense can be spread around like that?
It just shows how big of a threat we are. On any given night, someone can have the hot hand, it can explode for 20, and it just shows how well balanced we are. We have a lot of weapons offensively, so you can't just shade one guy or shade 2 guys. We have any guy out there on the floor really can score on a high given night.
Right about the final media timeout, you guys were up like 9 points, and kind of similar to first game of the season. Did Coach mention that at all in the huddle?
No, but Mike reminded us out there that we didn't want to repeat ourselves, and it's only a loss if you don't learn from it. So we learned from it, and luckily we have Mike to remind us that every possession is important.